Hey, it's me, Red Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. If you like, share, subscribe, comment, and turn your notifications on for the podcast, that would be amazing. We have a wonderful guest today, Richie from Evolve Salon. So I'd like to welcome you, Richie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Wow, because I think it's been a while since you wanted to come on, and we've just been so busy in trying to get new and exciting talent. I believe you've been in the hair industry about 5 years or so.
Yeah, 5, 6 years. Going on about 6 years now.
Okay, so how did you get excited? What was that bulb moment that said, I want to do hair as opposed to something else?
Well, that's a good question. I basically went to graphic design school. So out of high school, I had really no idea what I wanted to do. I always had hair in the back of my mind as something that I just enjoyed doing. So I was like practicing at home on my family members and even like my sister, for example. They were definitely my test subjects for quite some time. And then I went to graphic design school, business marketing, advertising at Durham College. So I did a 3-year diploma course. And just in kind of in that time frame, I was kind of like figuring out who I was as a person. Trying to definitely had some things in high school that kind of reserved me from being who I wanted to be. So, I was battling with my sexual identity, I guess, like my gender preference, if you will, like with who I wanted to be with. So getting into hair at that moment in high school, like right out of high school, I was like, I don't want people to know yet, even though most people are like, Richie, it's cool. So I decided to, after college, I worked for a year, saved up some money, and I just enrolled myself into hair school. And it was something that I've never looked back on. I'm enjoying my life so much more. And that was kind of like the transition time where I wanted to, explore something that I was so passionate about down in my heart, but I couldn't project it out at the time.
So what was it like looking back, your first day of school, like going into hair school? You're like, so were you the only guy in school? Was there other guys there? What kind of experience was it for you, like starting school, hairdressing school?
So I remember my first day walking into hair school, and I sat down. Like, you go into the school, you walk up the stairs, and you just sit down and wait until the teacher comes over and says, okay, you're the new month starting. And I remember looking around the room. There's a few other people. I was not the only guy. We had 3 other guys in the class, which I thought was amazing, because I was kind of not hoping, but I was going into it with, there's going to be a lot of women here, which is great. And, I actually was the last guy standing by the end of hair school. I was the only one that kind of made it through in
Wow.
my group. Yeah.
Wow. So the other guys didn't stay, couldn't stick it out, or?
I just think it was a change of, well, actually, no, that's a lie. There's one guy that made it through, which is nice.
Okay.
So we both made it through, but some people just didn't really go forward with it. They just found other passions and stuff like that and realized maybe it wasn't the career path for them. Yeah, it was very, very tough that way. I made it through, and I was really, really excited. I came out with so much knowledge and like things I thought I knew in the beginning from doing like home stuff.
Yeah. So were you like most, I think, when you look in the mag, oh, this will be fun. It's going to be so easy. I'm going to just make everybody beautiful, and I'm going to make a ton of money.
Yes. Oh, totally. Totally.
Because that's what a lot of hairstylists believe. Because when I went to school, I was the only guy there. I had 3 instructors who were like hardcore, but they taught you the most. And I think as far as, like you say, longevity, a lot of people even left while in the process of training, because they found either they couldn't deal with the products, or what it is when you're shampooing all the time when you first start, your hands get dry, they crack, they bleed. It depends on, I guess, like if you're not used to it, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's a lot different. I was a little bit lucky for me, because being the only guy, a lot of times the clientele would recommend and say, oh, I want the guy to do my hair. So for me, it was a little bit better, just because I got on the floor a lot faster. I learned how to give really good massages, scalp massages when we were doing it. So of course they would recommend me, and then they would say, hey, do you know how to set hair? Do you know how to cut hair? You know how to, I mean, I'm like, sure. Or I go to ask the teachers. So for me, yeah, it was great. I actually graduated the class ahead of mine, 2.5 months ahead.
Oh,
So
amazing.
I put in all the extra time, did all the extra stuff. But yeah, like you say, there were a lot of people that didn't last, either left, decided it was not the career choice for them, or were coming from something else, or left school, and then I see them working at a department store, and they've never, you know, they've
Yeah.
never done anything since. So when you graduated, so what happened from there? Did you do apprenticeship? Where did you go? What was your journey from there?
So basically, like as soon as I graduated hair school, I always had a mentor in the background. So like I was getting my hair, technically I was getting my hair colored at the hair school, and then I was getting my haircuts done by my mentor Patrick from Great Lengths Hair Gallery in Markham. He was doing my hair for years prior to that, and he was telling me, he's like, I was always asking him questions and asking him how like I do certain things, and he'd be like telling me everything I know. But he goes, go to hair school, go to hair school, go to hair school. So he had a big influence on my enrollment in hair school as well, and the influence behind it. He goes, Richie, you need to go to hair school. And I was like, okay, cool. So I did. And then he goes, when you're done hair school, he goes, let me know, you have a job with me. So I was guaranteed and lined up from the beginning before I even started, which is really, really nice that they had that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, out of hair school, I knew exactly, I had a start date, I had everything all ready to go. And most people were still trying to find their groove and their path and what hair salon they were going to work at. So I ended up working at that one in Markham, Great Lengths Hair Gallery. It's a high-end salon in Markham. And they just took me in under their wing, and I knew them for years prior. So it was very, very
Mm-hmm.
easy, and very, very natural, just me walking in there. And it was like I was at home. So
Yes.
yeah.
Well, it's nice because then you already knew them. You're already comfortable there. Probably some clients had seen you before, maybe
Yeah.
kind of there, and it kind of builds. And something similar, I had something already lined up when I left, which I think really makes a big difference. And like you say, it's so tough for people graduating. Where do you go?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then during the apprenticeship process and that sort of thing, with a Great Lengths name, is that any association with the hair extensions?
No, actually, it was a coincidence.
Yeah.
However, we did do Great Lengths extensions there as well.
Okay.
So it was just a coincidence. It just happened that way. And then yeah, that's just the name behind it is just what it is. It had no affiliation. We just do use their products. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Oh no, that's amazing. It's amazing. So with your journey, do you think that doing hair was the right choice for you? Or
absolutely.
without a doubt, you're like, it's in my eat, breathe, live hair. It's in the fiber of my being. It's
Yeah, no, it
yeah.
definitely was from the get-go. Like I have no regrets whatsoever. I literally walk into my place of work now, where I don't think about it as a job. It's naturally just I'm going in to do something I
Hmm.
enjoy doing. And everybody has their ups and downs. I've had my ups and downs where I'm like, is this right? I'm not getting paid enough. I'm not doing this.
Hmm.
But it's all about shifting that mindset because
Hmm.
nothing comes easy. Being a hairstylist, like in terms of like making money, you make money. You start off at the
Hmm.
bottom, and then you work your
Yes.
way up into and you build your commissions, you build your sales, whatever it may be. But like me being 5-6 years in, I'm
Hmm.
just starting to see that kind of turnaround now. So
Okay.
it's a process, and it's something that you have to be in it to win it. It's not just something
Hmm.
that you're going in for a paycheck. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a hobby. It's all these things combined into one.
Hmm. So how did you go about when you first started trying to build a clientele? What kind of things did you do? Did your salon offer anything to build you up, or did you do a lot of it on your own?
So naturally, I took to social media because that's where the great impact is right in there. So I got into social media right away. I started off with I think like 400 or 500 followers, just because it was my personal page at the time, and
Hmm.
then because I already had that following, I converted it over into a hair page and started deleting all my content that I had from like high school,
Hmm.
which was interesting. But it was all about basically going through social media, the salon, Great Lengths that I was at, they put me on Tuesdays. All my services were 50% off. So they'd fill up my
Mm,
Tuesdays, and then it would start trickling over. And then I did that for about, I would say, maybe like 6 months to a year. But then in that time frame when I couldn't fit people in that Tuesday, I was overflowing people and they were just coming in
okay.
naturally anyway. So I filled my books in that way.
Okay.
And then I also just made sure that I was, talking about my services. I was promoting myself consistently, making sure I had Instagram content. Sometimes I would lag in between my
Mm,
Instagram content, but I would still be reaching out to people and like posting stuff in my stories and whatever that may be. So I would say like a lot of the salon fed me clients as well, obviously.
mhm,
So they were handing me over clients. I was, doing that promotion. Some days there was a promotion that we did where we would hand out, like we'd go all to the managers and like in Markville Mall, and we'd give them like a manager deal, like a card, and they would
mm,
come in and see me, like that kind of stuff. So that worked
mhm,
out for a little bit. And then I just started getting really busy. So I was like, hey, drop the promo. Let's just go full tilt.
mhm.
And it was great. That's how I built my clientele, and obviously just, keeping, rebooking in my mind. I wasn't so good
Mhm.
about it in the beginning, but
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is. But then afterwards, you start kind of realizing, especially now,
Mhm.
um, being where I am now for the last 6 months with Evolve Hair Studio,
Mhm.
rebooking is our thing. Like we are into rebooking consistently, and that's how we build and build and build and keep filling our books.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so before we talk more about Evolve, I just want to go back and so when you were switching from that promotion,
yeah.
was there any kind of so if a client's used to paying 50% off, then what happens when they come in the next time and it's regular price?
So what we were doing was once we were talking about dropping the promo, we
Mhm.
can't just drop it and cut it off. So what we did instead was we started letting people know, okay, next time, like or next month, I'm starting to actually go. We're removing this promotion. Just
Mhm.
letting you know, here's our options. Here are my prices. I would set them out, and people
Mhm.
were just comfortable enough, anyways.
Mhm.
Some people are like, oh, like that's it's still now really really expensive. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, but you're getting 50% off for basically
Yes.
like a year for a few hair appointments.
Mhm.
And most people were like, yeah, that's totally cool. We understand. We knew it wasn't going to be forever. It was a great promo. Thank you so much. Some people are like, I can't pay that. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. Well, I mean, I thought my prices were reasonable.
Mhm.
But some people are like, I can't pay that. I was like, cool, that's
No,
fine.
and
I would,
and you're gonna
yeah,
find always people
yeah.
like I mean, and it's very tough, like especially being a junior. So did you charge like with your salon? Was it like a tiered pricing, or was it like straight pricing across the board for everyone?
It was tiered. It was
Yeah.
definitely tiered. I think, yeah, I was definitely a junior. Like like
Hmm.
the entry level position.
Yeah.
So I was a junior, and then I moved up into intermediate
Okay.
after
So
that.
do
So
they
yeah,
kind of like, and they would let clients know, okay, now he's done his apprenticeship, he's done his, now he's moved to the next level.
yeah,
And then, you know what I mean? So then, yeah, they would know a couple months ahead or say,
right,
hey, to your clients, I'll be moving up to the next tier,
yeah,
be aware and, here's, and like you said, give out your price list so they know ahead of time. It's not a big shock. I think it's always good to let your clients know, depending on how often they come, but at least 3 months prior if you can
absolutely.
because it gives them a couple appointments to kind of get used to before they come for it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so with that shop, because you're no longer there now, and I know you loved it there, but you as a person, as a stylist, what made you want to change locations, or just if you needed to grow as a stylist or you need different input? Because sometimes too it's not always the salon, sometimes it's just the stylist saying, hey, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm needing something else. So your situation to go to Evolve, what kind of made you want to make the shift from where you were to where you are now?
Um, so great question. There's a lot of different factors that I
Hmm.
factored in. I've always, like, even from when I started hair, I've always said that I want to work and live in Toronto, like downtown
Hmm.
Toronto. That's where my heart is, and that's where it's always been. So that was definitely one thing that I definitely had to try to, like, I just had to make it happen, and it was the opportunity was presented to me when I wasn't really looking at the time. So um, basically, like, there's another couple factors too. Like, there was no bad blood ever with my
Hmm.
last salon. I was always, I'm always a part of their family. They're always a part of me. Like, there's no animosity between us.
Hmm.
But what I was given at Evolve, or like what was different, was just a different culture, different set of clientele. Obviously keeping room for my current clientele. And it was just a little bit different, pay wise, pay structure.
Hmm.
Just certain work hours were different, something that would fit into my lifestyle.
Hmm.
And it had nothing to do with the fact that the other salon couldn't give that to me. It was just, it was just kind of just time for me to change and, to advance further.
Hmm.
So like for me, I wanted to climb really, really fast. And then, so me moving to Evolve would allow that,
Hmm.
and give me a little bit more variety and option in order to do
Hmm.
so, especially because the salon is bigger, and um, there's just a lot more option for me, and
Hmm.
it was just more of like my lifestyle that I wanted.
Yeah, and it also depends on what's in your life plan and where you want to go and where you want to be and how you see yourself.
Right.
Because I think sometimes, even as much as you love a certain place, and as I say, even myself, I've been at a couple different salons before I opened my own, but the same sort of thing, you just coming in, working behind the chair, going home, eat, sleep, come back, do the same thing again. Sometimes you need that change. Sometimes you need to be stimulated. Sometimes you need to grow. And it's wonderful that you can keep friends with, past employers or past jobs. And they understand that you are on your learning curve. You are on your growth stage. You are where you want to be, where you can excel, that you're thankful for them for giving you the opportunity. And without probably them giving you the thing, hey, you should go to hair school, you may
Yeah.
have just stuck with your other and then never even gave it a a
Yeah.
second thought. So now you're at Evolve. So Evolve is more in Toronto, correct?
Yes. It's in Toronto. It's down on Fort York Boulevard,
Hmm.
just in like the heart of City Place.
So with there, yeah. So with there, there's I guess more going on, more things happening. Clients are wanting type of different looks and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Something that would probably challenge you more creatively.
Yes, definitely. So it's just a different culture and what different people want. So a lot of the stuff that I was catering to in terms of my services was, definitely like balayage, ombre, just like extensions and everything like that. The downtown core, like you get your kind of different pockets of
Hmm.
clientele. I was noticing that I was getting, a younger clientele in Markham, but then I was getting some older, and I was just doing like
Hmm.
basic like highlighting techniques, root
Hmm.
touch-ups, basic haircuts, and which there's nothing wrong with. But if I want to tailor myself and transform myself into
Hmm.
more of a balayage aspect. So I was doing like lived-in balayages, and everything, and it was great. But I was spending 5-6 hours on one client, and
Hmm.
booking some people in between, which is obviously a good thing to do.
Hmm.
But I wasn't able to charge what I should be.
Yes.
Um, so I think that, and it has nothing to do with any salon. It's just your demographic is what it is. You're
Hmm.
setting the bar for the area, and you can't be overpriced, but you also can't be under.
Hmm.
So I found that, like, for me, spending the 5-6 hours that I was doing these elaborate techniques where I'm creating a balayage on somebody, or like a foilayage, and I'm foiling in and creating blunt lines into the hair, and then I need to go and root melt it and make it look that way. That was like 5-6 hours of my time, and I'm
Hmm.
charging $200 to $300,
Hmm.
which is, on average what people are. But like being able to be downtown, if I'm spending that time, I'm charging for it.
Hmm.
And I think
Exactly.
that's where I just saw the difference in
Hmm.
creating the looks that I wanted to create and what people wanted from me.
Hmm. And I think with the menu, just with a basic service menu, if you say haircut is this much, foil is this much, highlights are this much, balayage is this much, that's fine. But the only thing is, like you said, a client may take you 90 minutes, a client may take you 5 hours, yet you're charging the same. So a lot of it depends on your product costs. It depends on your time that you're putting in, right? So if you could do a couple of clients in that same time, it's going to be different than if you're taking almost a whole day for
Right.
one client. I think it's very important. And like you said, with each salon, they have their own culture. So with the culture, I think it's like the type of clientele, the type of energy, the type of music, the type of stylists, and so what would be with the energy of Evolve? What's the kind of energy in there?
So
Energy as far as it's lively, it's funky, it's like that sort of thing. So what if I was a client going into Evolve? What would I feel going into for the first time?
so if you're a client going in, you would just love the atmosphere walking in. It's so bright, it's so welcoming. The music's always great. We play ranges of music. Like we're not just a one playlist
Hmm.
type of salon. We're very we're very a lot like we elaborate on our musical taste. So like we all have our own playlists. So like I have mine, and a couple, and our stylists and managers have
Hmm.
their own playlists, and sometimes we put on our own playlists, and then we're on Spotify as well, so you
Okay.
can actually listen to our playlists outside of the salon, which I thought was a great idea. And it's something that you can connect with your stylist and see what kind of music they're into, and we update it all
Hmm.
the time, well, as much as we can,
Yes.
providing we're not as busy. But we also create a very eco-conscious, healthy environment as well. We're very into creating, mindfulness and giving back to ourselves,
Hmm.
as well as, to our clients. So the clients definitely know that we're very family oriented. We're just all around helping each other out. We're a very, very
Hmm.
team oriented salon. And that's something that I'm very, very much a fan of, because if I need assistance with a client, the client already, like, I can let the client know. The client knows the people in the salon already, so it's very easy for them to be like, I don't mind if she does my blow dry today if you need to do something.
Hmm.
It's just very, very open. We're honest. We're very we just want to make sure our clients are comfortable.
Hmm.
And I've heard numerous times that every time they walk into the salon, they're like, wow, it feels so nice in here. We're
Hmm.
very big on essential oils too. So we have those going. We infuse our hot towels with essential oils too.
Hmm.
And we create, when we're doing scalp massages, like an aromatherapy type of scalp massage with
Hmm.
essential oils. It's just great. It's such a great environment, and something that I didn't really know was out there until
No.
they reached out to me. So
Yeah, and that's a big thing is the experience. It's not so much, I mean, a great personality or a great haircut or a great blow dry or blowout. Sometimes it's that those little extra things that you can do in a salon that a lot of people don't know. They don't know, how can I take my salon to the next level? And that's part of it. It's really about the experience more so than technique. And
right,
that's one thing I've learned through doing hair and years of hair, that people want an experience. And if you don't provide an experience for them, they're going to go somewhere else and find it there.
right,
And it's to say, like, and it's nice that you can have a team that it's not like, well, I'm not going to help them, they didn't help me. And so many salons are like that. Well, I'm on commission or I'm on this, so I'm not going to help anybody else.
yeah,
Say they get backlogged and now everybody else is standing over to the side, nobody's going to help them. And you can't expect, even if you have assistants, to make those assistants do every single thing for you.
right.
They're there to help you, but I don't believe assistants, as I say, they should assist you in creating a great experience, but I don't think they should be run into, ran into the ground, and they're learning as well. And we all were at that point at one time. When I first assisted, I assisted 12 stylists
Yeah,
myself. So that makes you think a lot better. You think ahead, but you also have to be ready for everything. It's not
yeah,
just sweeping the floor, answering the phone, doing
yeah,
that kind of stuff. You really want to, embrace and really learn from other stylists. And that's what I found, that working, probably same for yourself, that you can always learn from other people. So
right.
is that your case where you are now at
Yeah,
Evolve?
so it's actually I have a whole new respect, and I always had respect, but like I have a newfound respect for assistant work. I was doing it for sure, so I know we all can kind of um, I guess accept what we've been
Hmm.
through in being an assistant. It's not the greatest kind of work, but our stylists at the salon, we have two ladies who just got on the floor, I think in the new year, so January full time, but in between they're taking clients every other day and then doing assistant work. The good thing about those assistants in the salon and having them is that they already know. So if like they've been to hair school, they're just kind of working their way up, but they've been trained so well by their school and by our bosses and like other stylists in the salon. They were like, if I needed, for example, like I have my level of work or my standard of work that I would put out and let somebody leave with. So I do a root smudge differently than somebody else would.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized when I came into there, these two women, literally, I could say, do this, and it would come out just exactly how I would imagined it. Like if I, for example, put in the foils and I need them to tone it or do like a root tap with like a toner through the ends,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so confident that I can literally just leave them to it. I don't have to worry about it, which
Yeah.
to me is the best. And like we have another assistant too. Like we just all help each other out, but we have an assistant that, helps with toners and washing and, making sure the salon just looks the way it needs to, ripping foils for us. And you know what, big props to her too, because she keeps our feet going as well and keeps, the salon looking great too. And she's not a hairstylist, but she's worked in salons. So it's just nice having her as well. And she's able to take on kind of like the kind of easier work that doesn't require, a full-on root application. But
No.
we've trained her, and we consistently, try to train her up to a certain point. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, well, if she's listening, we'll give a shout out to her.
Yeah.
But it is like, people don't realize how important that is, because I know being super busy when you don't have foils, when you got to rip them yourself,
Yeah.
I know some stylists that won't even rip their own, foils, but sometimes you have to do it. But sometimes having that all done, and let's say it still lends to that experience when the client is coming in, because then if the stylist has everything ready for them, it makes it more comforting for the client coming in, because they know everything is running smoothly, as opposed to, now I got to sit while they go and get foils. Now I got to wait here with my head wet until somebody can wash me off. Now I have to, you know what I mean? That's all part of it. And a client coming in shouldn't have to worry about anything. So if you have everything covered, from stylist to how you communicate with your assistant, even as to say, if your assistant is able to do blow dries, do that. Have them have a relationship with your client that when you say, hey, Sally, I'm really busy, do you mind if, my assistant, blow dries your hair for you, blows you out, I'll finish you off, which most times they don't mind, because if they're scared, and that's sometimes a nice way, because we know how it is when we're doing a lot of blowouts, especially holiday time, unless you love doing blowouts with a round brush and thick hair, takes you forever. It's great practice for them. Plus it allows you to kind of, put your schedule in a little bit fuller, and then everybody's still happy and nobody's being brushed off to the next person.
Right.
But culture is important. Experience is important. Camaraderie, team effort is important. So that kind of brings us to education. So as far as education other than school, do you apply yourself? Do you take courses? Do you have in-salon training? What type of things do you do to kind of upgrade yourself?
Well, one of the things that we've, from what I've experienced from the first salon to this salon, is you're required as your job to take courses. So it's actually a job requirement now. My first salon was you have to take 3 courses a year at least. And I believe it actually evolves the same way, or at least kind of putting out there and showing them that you're taking and you're upgrading your knowledge. We do in-salon classes. This year hasn't really gone off to the greatest start in terms of everything that's going on, but I know that once we're back and stronger than ever, we're going to start really going into education, and like getting in some classes. I'm actually doing another class. I was supposed to do it actually this past week, and it's actually being postponed, so I'm going to be doing that. And it's a pretty hefty course. It's a Great Lengths hair extensions course. I'm just going in and doing like the full thing.
And it's always great to go in and to upgrade all the time. And even anybody listening now, there's a lot of stuff online even. There's a lot of people doing Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, YouTube Lives. There's a lot of certification courses. There's a lot, like you say, even if you know it, it's always good to go back or expand because the more knowledge you have, I think it helps in your tier pricing as well, because the more you know and the better you get and the more you put out for education, it's going to come back to you, because how can you, charge an extra whatever for this service if you're not even willing to pay? You want the 200 or 500 you're going to make, but you don't want to pay the $100 for the class, or
Right.
200 or 1200, whatever it may be. I don't think education is ever a waste,
I
at all.
I think that like with education, I've taken some courses 2, 3 times, and I've retained at least
Hmm.
a little bit of information each
Yes.
time in terms of, I've taken a course and then I go back and take it again, for example. Things may be a little bit different and I actually might pick up another tool, but as long as I'm walking away with something out of the course, I've done my job and I've done my part. And I think it's really important. I think the investment in it's a lot. Being a hairstylist, it's not like we're making thousands and hundreds and like, you know what I mean? Like it's your initial investment up front is expensive, but like the return, it might not come as fast, but it helps you out so much. And any advice that I could give is make sure you're just like getting educated as much as you can. I don't think that people realize that. Like people kind of go, oh, I learned what I learned. I might learn a few things in the job, but I'm done. I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to do any of these things. But you're only really hurting yourself in the end, in my opinion. And you're kind of cutting yourself off to so many different things. And then you get those people that go, oh, I'm not making the money I thought, or I'm getting bored. I'm going to change careers. I'm just like, you kind of got to invest in yourself. And that's also a requirement, I think, of any job is, up your skills. Things are constantly changing. I have this thing in my head where I'm like, if somebody ever comes into me and asks me for a service and I have no idea what it is, I'm screwed. Like
Yeah.
I never want that to happen. So I want to make sure that we're up to, I'm up to here and up to the industry standards or what's being put out.
Exactly, because trends are changing all the time, or sometimes it's something you do already know, but they just called it a different name.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they're like, I want this, and everybody brings in their pictures, and they're
Yeah.
like, I want this. And as I say, and the upgrading, as I say, yes, it's a definite factor, but how important do you think social media is? Now that you have your accounts, do you think where is the best place to put yourself out there? Does it work? How long do you think it really takes to build up a clientele, right? Like followers, but out of the followers you have, you know what I mean? Because I think there's a difference in having followers and having actual paying clients that follow you.
Yeah. Social media has changed even in the last 5, 6 years that I've been doing hair so much. I I wish I knew the formula for that. I am still working on it myself. I just took a social media course the other day with my boss. She's very, very good with that kind of thing. And she was kind of giving me some pointers and tips. But social media, definitely Instagram's huge right now. A lot of people complain about this algorithm thing, how they're not getting any reach, but you have to also do your work behind it too. And this is something I just learned the other day. Like I know a lot of us kind of, we post our pictures, we can hashtag and tag people and locations. But what it really boils down to is your engagement with people. So if people are commenting on your Instagram, and I'm still working on it too. I'm not perfect, but it's engaging with your clients. Establishing and finding your ideal clientele. So you need to search that. So some exercises that I've done with my boss, and she actually just opened me up to so many like different things, is picture your client. Who is she? What does she do? All these things. And then you go out and you find people on Instagram that match your clientele. Hey, I'd love to do your hair. Reach out, like be authentic. Like don't go through and like 20,000 of their pictures and then nothing out of it and just say, hey, I want to do your hair. Do 2 or 3 every so often. Comment something authentic, like, oh, I really like your lipstick. I really like your hair in this picture, or I like your shoes, whatever it may be. Things that actually you do find that you like about this person. And then, save them for another time, go back a couple days later, and because we'll probably uploaded a few more pictures, and just keep that kind of cycle going. And then eventually they're like, oh, they might jump ship. And I think that you won't get that for everybody, but as soon as you kind of get into that routine habit, you'll start noticing that return. I'm going to be starting to work on that a lot more. But it's just definitely staying consistent. One thing with Instagram and building followers, it's not as easy as it once used to be. So now it's just, you got to hashtag the right things. You got to change up your hashtags. So if you do the same hashtags every single post, you get kind of shadow banned. So you're not going to get as much reach. So it's
Yeah.
been there's no specific formula to it. You got to kind of
Hmm.
play with different options. I've been playing with it for
Hmm.
5 years. So
Yeah.
um, and I've built from 3,400 up to
Hmm.
1930 now,
Hmm.
and that's still not a lot, but it's just organic growth. It's not something that I've paid into or
Hmm.
follow all these people and then unfollow them so I have this following. You know what I mean? Like it's just very organic, and I'm very
Hmm.
honest. And you know, I just don't think the follower count really identifies you as who you
No,
are as a
because you could have
stylist.
10 million followers and then 3 likes. You can
Yeah,
have 10 million followers and 2 clients. You could have 50 followers and have 25 clients.
right.
So it doesn't really matter about that. But like you're saying, yes, it takes time, but you need to be consistent, and you're building relationships, offline relationships first into uh, an online relationship into an offline relationship. So you like
Absolutely.
their posts and you're authentic, because there are bots out there, and that's what they do. They have these things that people get, and then they comment on people's things. They do this, hey, I like your stuff, or follow me. That's
Yeah.
probably not the way to go without starting a relationship first and having to know a little bit about that person, sort
Yeah.
of thing. Um, but time's flying. It's already been like 40 minutes already.
Wow.
So usually, yeah, we try to keep the podcast around, and if we have a lot more to say, we usually have a second one or do a Facebook Live. So we're going to kind of wrap up a little bit, but if you were to give some nuggets of gold, what would be your empowerment type of words of wisdom for everyone?
I would definitely say stay current. Keep up what you're doing, get educated, and keep getting educated all through. Create some space for yourself. Work-life balance is huge. And also, yeah, take the time to really focus on yourself, and that's something that in the hair industry we're lacking. So, and it's a known thing throughout the board. Making sure that you're taking the time for yourself to recover and process, because that's the most important. You're the one behind the chair, and you need to be on top all the time. So definitely say create some time for yourself, whether it be through yoga, meditation, whatever your niche is. Create some time for yourself. There's work-life balance. Everybody needs it.
Wow, that's been amazing. So I want to say thank you, Richie, for being on the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. I'm B. Rad, Celebrity Hairstylist, your host, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, and turn on your notifications. See you next time.